Hi, I'm your son Amir Kashari is here with another episode of Dark 30 USA. Sometimes I have to switch between late Dark Show and Dark 30 USA. I have to make sure like I'm saying the correct program on each episode. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about the fact like the war is seemingly back on and where we are heading from here and what resulted to be here and ceasefire be broken, all of them. But before everything, let's see what President Trump says about the ceasefire. Like when he was asked if the ceasefire is over or not, he responded that. Let's take a look.
Me? I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo.
Cool. All right. Let me explain to you guys what is going on. Because you might say, well, what happened that you stopped the ceasefire and you say ceasefire is over? Like, did they say, okay, now we want to talk about the nuclear, like we want to make nuclear bomb? What is the result? The result that ceasefire is over, seemingly, it's because there were 3 ships that were going through Oman, because Strait of Hormuz has border with 2 countries, Iran and Oman. And Iran says, okay, you're gonna, in that 60 days that we are not gonna take any tolls from people, from the ship, so they can go back and forth freely. But still they have to communicate with us, and we have to give them permission, and we have to guide them. And the reason that Iran is doing that, even though they are not getting told, is because they want to normalize that. They want war to get used to it. That we have to make a phone call with Iran in order to let our ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So they want to make it like if people get used to it, it becomes new normal. So that's why they say, even though I'm not getting any tolls from you, but you have to make a communication with me, and we have to have a couple of ships to guide you to make sure like you are not hitting any mines or stuff. I mean, of course, it's an excuse. But after the 60 days, then we're gonna find a way to get money from the toll. So the long-term plan is they have to get the money. Short-term plan is, okay, for now we can pause it. But United States tried to be smart. They said, okay, other Arab countries, because the Strait of Hormuz, there's the dead end. And that dead end, you have all the Arab countries on one side and Iran on the other side. Other countries, they don't want to pay the toll. So what they do is like, is there any way that you could go around it? And United States wants that too. They don't want Iran to get used to it, to get them. So they were saying to the Oman, hey, listen, how about if we make the new route closer to your side? Because the route that Iran was saying you have to go through that, it was very close to Iran's border. But the Oman's border is, the Omani's route is closer to Oman, of course, obviously. And then they're asking the ships silently go through that. And Iran was saying, hey, you have to communicate with us. You have to ask us. We have to let you know. But America doesn't want it become normal and people get used to, yeah, always we just call them and let us pass. They don't want that. So they are taking different routes without communicating with Iran. And the reason is because they want they want world to get used to not call Iran, because in that 40 days of the war and afterward, during the ceasefire, let's put it that way, or pause on the war, the thing was everyone was communicating with Iran. So America wants to bring it back prior to the war, and Iran doesn't want that. And the reason is because Iran is saying, if we make it so painful for America and make them lose something, that they learn that to not come back again. But if right now we give away what we got it from the war, first of all, it's very stupid. Why would you do that? The second of all, then it makes America believe like, oh, next time again I can go to war with them. So it is kind of like a deadlock. Each one is waiting for the other side, and that's why nobody's going through. Iran wants to make sure America is not coming back to war with them, but the only way they can do that is to make it painful enough for America so nobody dares to even talk about the next round of the war. But also for America, in order to normalize with Iran, to go back, they need Iran to bring everything back to situation prior to the war, but they cannot do. So in order to do that, they have to just kind of like betray the negotiation. Even though America is not lying technically on the paper, but still you are seeing like they are trying to beat around the bush or try to like find a new path without lying, without doing something against what they promised. But it's, oh, I didn't promise you. You told me to not attack you. I'm not attacking you. You told me, like United States to Iran, let your ships go through. I lift the blockade. I did that. And right now I'm doing the same thing with the. You told me like we have to go through the Strait of Hormuz. We are doing that. But the only difference is right now we are communicating with Arab nations, not with you. So they want to take away the control of the Strait of Hormuz on Iran. And Iran is not having it. And the reason is Iran is not having it is a couple of reasons. One of them is, as I said, mentioned just earlier, they know that if they let America get away with that, they're gonna get boldened. Oh, you see, nothing happened. So they get more motivation to go again to next round of the war. So they have to make it painful. So America says to stop them where they are right there. The second reason is because they are saying like, okay, right now this Strait of Hormuz is not something that one day we could wake up and say, you know what, from today we're gonna get the toll from everybody. You know, Iran was isolated, was hated by everybody. Nobody even, you know, like even a small country with a population of 400,000 native Emiratis in Emirat was so delusional. They were saying with our police, their police enforce, like their forces, like the cops, they could take over Iran. 400,000 people are living in Emirat. There are a population of 90 million people in Iran. That delusional they were, because Iran was so weak and was so hated that nobody cared. So, but after the war, everything changed, and they had to accept Iran. That was the new normal, basically. And Iran is saying like, I cannot. It's not like every day you can wake up and say, you know what, from this day we want to charge people for the toll going through a Strait of Hormuz. This is something like the blessing came out of the war. You know, like we turned a threat to opportunity. So if we let it go, it's not like, oh, it's okay, tomorrow again we can get it back. Either you establish it right now, the control of a Strait of Hormuz, or you lose something that normally you couldn't get that. Imagine, if the war with Iran didn't happen, you think Iran could force other countries to pay the toll for that? Whole world would be against that. So now America did something, and now we got opportunity out of it. We took advantage of the environment that America caused. So nobody blame us, but blame the United States. So even if Iran takes the toll, they say, oh, you started the war. That's why they are doing that. So it's very stupid to give it away. It's not like we can work hard, play hard, no pain, no gain the stuff, and one other day start getting the tolls. It's now or never. So this is another reason. And one other thing is, they know that Israel is doing its best to convince America to go to another round of the war, and that's why Bibi Netanyahu, again, for the 10th time, 1,000th time, they're coming to the White House again to talk. And every time that he goes to the White House, talk with Trump, something bad happens. Something bad against America's interests, American people's interests happen. I have never seen that Netanyahu goes to America, and after that, something that benefit American people happen. And I believe just like last 100 times, again, Netanyahu goes there, Trump gonna make the decision, it's gonna not benefit American people. Everything that so far has happened, it always was against America First policies. And again, he's going to the White House as early as next week Monday. So Iran knows that. Again, Netanyahu has another plan. So they know that right now they have to respond very harshly and very boldly to say to America, hey, don't think anything has changed. Remember, I am the same Iran that I was with you during the war. Because Trump was feeling like, oh, they are softened, you know. But now he's saying, no, it's not going to happen. And then America was saying, because that's a funeral for the Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, and his body was in Iran and now is in Iraq. They said, since they are busy with the funeral, we can pass a couple of ships through Oman's route, and they wouldn't say anything because they don't want to cause chaos while they are busy with the funeral, because it's very important for them. They won't initiate war with us while they are doing something that's very holy and sacred and important for them, like a funeral for Khamenei. It's a historic for them. So America was miscalculating that Iran would be passive because they don't want to start another war or cause a mayhem while they are busy with the funeral. And during that time, America could start the new normal by passing the toll when they know that they were expecting Iran wouldn't respond to that. But quite contrary of that thought, Iran attacked 3 ships after I gave them warning through Omanis, and then America attacked like 100 bases in Iran. Like, America wanted to also say, hey, listen, don't think just because you are doing the funeral, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna come here and then beat you if I want to. And then Iran said, okay, we retaliate as well. And then they started to attack a couple of bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. I don't know about Qatar, but Bahrain and Kuwait, I'm 100% positive those 2 countries, America's bases in those 2 countries got hit. And now, this is the craziest part. America, for the second night in a row, continued a bombing campaign against Iranian targets. So, and then when they asked Trump, what do you think about that? He said, it's over, they are scumbags, they are not listening, they are not respecting. And Iran is saying, I know what you're doing. You are just, because J.D. Vance, when he was in Michael Knowles' podcast, if I'm not mistaken, he said what Trump is doing with these 60 days is just refill everything that was depleted, like the oil reserve, all those stuff. And Iran knows that. It says we shouldn't let them breathe, because 2 things is happening. One, in 4 weeks were left until the oil reserve would be tanked, and then the gas price wouldn't be $5, $6, it would be $20. That's one. The second thing was the midterm is out, and no matter how much Trump tried to act like, no, everything is fine, everything is good, but he's going to lose and he's going to be impeached. So he need to bring back popularity to say, hey, you see, I care about America first. Don't panic about that. So keep voting for Republicans so I don't get impeached. I don't lose the Senate. Because for sure he's going to lose the Congress. I take it to the bank. And so midterms and also the oil reserves. So he said when he gains back the popularity, passes the midterm, and also bring up the oil reserves, so again they basically breathe, they have the fresh air, they have the break, they are recharging, recovering, and they come back for the next round of the war, right? So when J.D. Vance already said that we are doing it to get ready if something happens after 60 days, so we won't be in the situation that we are right now. Iran is not stupid. Iran understands that too. It says, okay, so we have to not let them breathe. We cannot let them survive this chaos, this mayhem. If we do, then they're gonna come back again. For that reason, Iran is saying, like, if I give 1 inch to them, after the midterm, they're gonna come back for 1 mile. So I shouldn't even give 1 inch right now that I have leverage, right now that it is before midterm and then the oil reserve is not high. So Iran is immediately retaliating. So now you are seeing like why Iran is so faster in responding, because time is to benefit of Iran. After the midterm is opposite. Now it is 2 years of Trump can be as crazy as he has been. So he doesn't need to be worried about anything. So right now Iran is saying, okay, I'm gonna teach you some lesson. I'm not gonna let you get away with this situation, because if you do, it's gonna be, if Iran let America survives this situation, basically they're signing their death letter. So it is now or never. So this is why they are doing this. And also the supreme leader new supreme leader, the son of the previous one, said already, I don't like this MOU, memorandum of understanding. I don't like it. But because the president insisted and asked me, and he promised me, guaranteed that America would be man of his word, I accepted. Other than that, I'm not okay with that, and I and you, the people, we're gonna watch them to make sure like they are fulfilling their promises. For that reason, like basically RGC is telling to the president, the reformists, hey, listen, either America listens to us exactly, or we're gonna bomb them. Because you have to remember, if right now that was the government collapsed, and you know that Trump doesn't want Iran to become a failed nation. He wants the same scenario as he wanted for Venezuela. The new group comes for the replace the previous one, and the new group works for Trump. Just like the lady who was working for the Maduro when Maduro was captured. Now she was replaced. She replaced him, And also she's cooperating with America. Exactly, this is what Trump wants. But who would cooperate with America? Reformists. So IRGC and Supreme Leader, they know that. They know that if there is a regime change, they are the one who would get into power because they are ready to work with them. So if they go too soft and they believe reform is too much, they don't know that maybe behind the scene reformists are communicating with America. Okay, kick this IRGC out. Let us get into the power. We work with you the way that the the lady in the Maduro in the Venezuela is working with the United States. So that's why like they are making sure they are full control. That's why Trump is mad. Trump is mad because he was dealing with some other group of people, but the different group of people, IGC is launching the bomb. And say, hey bro, what's up? I thought everything was okay. But they're saying like, listen, they have the gun, we have the voice. The gun is more powerful than the voice. So you just know that. Like there are not so much things that we can do. So Trump basically, in my opinion, I don't have any evidence to back it up. I think he was negotiating with them. He said, hey, I'm gonna do this stuff to make sure like Iran stay isolated. Just make sure like you go there and then you sell this deal to the people like as if it is the good deal. And in the later, if there is a regime change, we're gonna work with you guys. But now RGC probably knows that, and they are destroying the America's bases to say that no, you have to deal with us, not with them. And that letter from the Supreme Leader basically was saying this, like, I'm not positive about this memorandum of understanding, but if you can get all of those promises delivered, that's okay. If not, we go back to the default setting, and that's his default setting. And I think they were mentioning or communicating with America, we are powerless. You do this stuff, they're gonna bomb you, and there's nothing we can do at this point. That's why he said, okay, the war is over. Because there were a couple of exchanges, like bombing exchanges during the memorandum of understanding, but still Trump was saying, no, still a ceasefire is in place, still everything is okay, because at that time he was positive that those reformists would get things under control. But right now, he realized that no, they cannot get things under control. If they want things under control, they have to communicate with IGC. So he said back, because you would say back in the day there was those exchanges as well after the ceasefire. Why was Trump positive at that time and negative right now? Because at that time he thought things can change. Right now he realized that either he has to deal with IGC or he's done. So we have to see that. But everybody, including me, was thinking he didn't want to. He didn't want to look bad during the World Cup, but the moment that America was eliminated, so he doesn't care anymore. As long as America was representing United States, like USMNT was representing America, so he was saying like we have to go a little softer. But if you have noticed, like the moment that America is eliminated, we are back at war. So even we cared about the World Cup as long as we were in it. If we are out, then who cares about the World Cup? It's just another competition. Going back to the war, and then who cares about the people of those countries? They're gonna feel bad. And Iran is eliminated anyway, and the whole team is out. So Iran is out, America's out. So both countries that they were in the World Cup and they were fighting with each other, they're out at their home. They're out of the competition. So there's no reason to stay positive and not going full war. And Trump said that he's gonna bring back the blockade again. And if he does that, Iran cannot survive. Iran really, that blockade hurt them so much. And there were so many voices inside Iran. They were saying, you know what? We have to break the blockade by attacking America's ship. So it means we're gonna not only going back to the war, but escalate more than the highest, the peak of the war. Like wherever we were during the war, now, if we go back, we're gonna go higher than that because we have broken so many bridges. The only way we could respond to each other is just by doing something harsher, and something harsher means escalation. We have to see what happens. Pray for peace. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time. As above, so below.